Kornheiser. You didn't think I was serious, did you? Come on.
You better be serious. Otherwise, I'd still be there in my hometown.
Just say that to make you feel wanted. I don't really mean that.
I could be in a really nice place right now.
You think the Windy City's a really nice place right now?
I know it is.
Okay. Welcome to PTI, my dirties. In today's episode, Donovan McNabb speaks, Rafael Palmeiro issues another statement, and Phil Jackson talks to us about life with Kobe. We begin today with Terrell Owens, well, sort of. We begin today with the other half of the equation, Donovan McNabb. McNabb held a press conference today at which he talked around the Terrell Owens issue and addressed why he never spoke out about T.O.
Sometimes you do want to say something, but the best way of handling it is just to hold your chin high and just continue to provide confidence to the guys that were here and never lower yourself, to what someone else may say. That's not me. I don't handle things that way.
Wilbon, you love Donovan McNabb.
Yes,
we know
I do.
that. But Stephen A. Smith had a column today in the Philadelphia Inquirer wondering out loud why none of the Eagles players stepped up in support of Donovan McNabb. And so I will ask you that. Why haven't they done so?
Tony, I don't know. And I tried to find that out Sunday night when the Eagles were here in Washington after that Redskins game. Why are you guys not coming out? Why is it only Hugh Douglas, who's not even on the active roster anymore, who confronted T.O.? And one of the answers I got, maybe this is true, is that some of the best players on their team, like Brian Dawkins and Trey Thomas, those guys are quiet, not confrontational. I can't imagine this happening to Brett Favre or Troy Aikman or guys like that and not having people rally around them and say, we protect our quarterback.
Donovan is a Pro Bowl quarterback, led them to 4 NFC championships.
Yeah.
Do they associate him with management too much? Do they think that he should have come out and taken a more active role? Did he make any mistake in this in not galvanizing support?
No, Tony, I don't think quarterbacks should do that. And I must say, I'm happy that Donovan McNabb has taken the tact he's taken, which is saying, no. I don't lower myself by going back after T.O. That's not who he is. And if he did that, he'd be phoning it up. And I'm glad he didn't do that.
But didn't it look like he was waiting by staying on the high road? Didn't it look like he was waiting for the vacuum to fill up underneath him?
I don't know if he was waiting. I just think he was doing his thing, and somebody should have come to his aid. If this had happened in Dallas a few years ago with Aikman, what would all those guys have done? Michael Irvin would have been the first guy in.
That's why this may be troubling. Maybe trouble.
Bothers me. I've got a possible soft landing spot, however, for T.O. How about San Francisco, Tony, his first stop? Ann Killian, in her column in the San Jose Mercury News today, writes that there are quite a few players from his old 49ers locker room, including lineman Derek Deese, who still like T.O. and who think he's a good teammate. Killian and several 49ers seem to conclude that T.O. did just fine in a locker room with structure and strong veteran leaders. Tony, the Niners traded T.O. away. So is this just revisionist history?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not out there. But certainly Philadelphia had a strong leadership, strong veteran leaders, a lot of structure and all of that kind of thing. I look at Terrell Owens, and I can't pretend to analyze him, but it does seem that with his fights with assistant coaches over the years and quarterbacks over the years, that it's almost like he looks at authority figures on a football team and is jealous of them or wants to beat them down. I mean, quarterbacks, they make the most money. They call the plays. They have the authority. And T.O. doesn't function well with them. And yet, with other teammates, like he goes to practice and he's great. He goes to the games. He's a great player. How does this work?
But if you're a receiver, you play that position. It's a dependent position. Who's dependent on? Dependent on the quarterback. I think there are other problems. I think there's direct envy of quarterbacks. I don't know much about the Garcia situation, but T.O., Tony, with McNabb. McNabb has all this love from Philadelphia. He's got a mother and father who are visible. That's something T.O. didn't have. We're all playing pop psychology here, but there seems to be a direct envy of Donovan McNabb, and I don't know how you can envy that particular position.
It was announced today that Rafael Palmeiro will not be prosecuted for perjury by Congress. Congressional investigators could not find enough evidence that Palmeiro lied when he told a congressional committee that he never took steroids before testing positive for steroids just 6 weeks later. Prosecution aside, Wilbon, we are left with the fact that Rafael Palmeiro tested positive for steroids. And where does that leave him?
It leaves him to go take a lie detector test with Geraldo in about 6 weeks. It'll be something titillating and grand, and it won't tell the rest of us anything. Tony, I don't know what to make of his situation. Does this mean he didn't lie when he wagged his fingers and said, I never took steroids?
We know he took the steroids, and we also know...
But could he have gotten it in some way that which makes him innocent?
He says he had a... No, he said he had a tainted B12 shot. I mean, I choose...
Do you believe any of what he said?
I believe he tested positive for steroids. He told the Washington Post today he wants to come back and play baseball. He'd like to do it with the Orioles, though the Orioles want no part of it.
Having him.
Do you think he will play in the majors next year?
I think he can play his way back into the majors. He'll have to have one of those non-roster spring training contracts, which starts him out in AAA ball or something.
Rafael, a guy with 500 homers and 3,000 hits is not going to AAA.
Guys do it all the time.
Who? Who's got 5,000?
I don't have a roster here.
Think Babe Ruth did it?
Maybe not 500, but how about in the 400s, okay? This guy's not going to just be on an opening day Major League roster. You think he will be? The Miami Heat is the betting favorite to win the Eastern Conference, which must make the Indiana Pacers laugh out loud. The Pacers beat the Heat last night, 95-90 in Indy, giving the Pacers 14 victories in the last 15 regular season games against Miami. Tony, that's I'm your daddy situation. Dwayne Wade, my boy, had a dubious triple-double last night.
He got popped.
29 points, 11 boards, and 10 turnovers. It's only November. Shaq didn't play. But should Miami be worried about its inability to beat the Pacers?
Well, not necessarily in this game if Shaq doesn't play. But the two teams Miami has to beat in the East for sure are Indiana and Detroit. And over the last 2 years with Stan Van Gundy, they are 2-15 regular season against them. Maybe that gets into the heads of Miami at some point. Maybe even when Shaq gets back, they wonder if they lose a game in the playoffs, how can we beat these guys? If you were building a dossier against Stan Van Gundy, that would be your first 5 lines.
Well, yeah, you could do that, I suppose, but what would be the point of doing that in November? You don't have to win these games. They don't have to win these games. You're not going to tell me that a team that is as confident as Shaq and Dwayne Wade are to set the tone there feel like, oh, my goodness, we're worried. We're so worried about the Pacers.
Do you think it doesn't get into your heads?
Not now.
2-15?
Not now, not without Shaq.
David Stern is so happy with the response to the New Orleans Hornets by the people of Oklahoma City that he says he has moved Oklahoma City to the top of the relocation list for the NBA. Wilbon, did you realize that this season, with almost no time to prepare for that franchise showing up, Oklahoma City stands number 6 in season tickets sold? Oklahoma City?
I didn't realize it, Tony, but I'm not shocked. The NBA does well in small markets like Salt Lake. San Antonio used to be a small market before the population explosion. Sacramento, Portland. Oklahoma City has 100,000 more people than Sacramento, where the NBA does really well.
Then let's move it to Sao Paulo. Let's move it to Shanghai.
Sao Paulo's 10 million people.
Well, move it
That's
there.
12 million people. No,
this is
small.
Going to shock you what I'm going to say. I'm going to advocate for the Midwest right here.
I'm stunned.
Because a city like Columbus
you know where it
does
is, huh?
very well in hockey. Jacksonville's not in the Midwest, but small city and does very well in football. Oklahoma City, Des Moines could do well. There's a history of basketball in places like that. Kansas City and Omaha did well with the Kings. Yeah, if you want to expand, I think you go to cities like that. The only worry is, are there enough people with enough money? Because 41 tickets at 85 to 125 a pop.
I think there are enough people and enough corporate presence to support one professional team, not multiples. It can't be like Chicago or New York with 5 or 9. One.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Phil Jackson joins us to let us know whether Kobe has really changed. And later, Mike Tyson runs into a little trouble down in Brazil. Shocking, isn't it?
Maybe he's in Sao Paulo.
Population, not San.
Pardon the Interruption, presented by Guinness Draft Stout. Drink responsibly. Brilliant. 5 Good Minutes, brought to you by Singular, raising the bar.
The Lakers have themselves a new coach who many feel has a bright future in this league. Say hello to Phil Jackson, boys and girls. Phil, you're wearing leather. You look very, very slick in the leather. Very nice.
Well, here we are on the East Coast, making a swing out here to play basketball. It's time for leather in winter.
Okay. Yesterday on this show, I argued that you guys could win 50 games this year. Back me up on this, Phil.
Well, it would be a banner season for us. There's no doubt about it. That's high expectations. Western Conference is good. I don't know if it's as good as it's been before. We'll find that out in the next couple months. But yes, it'd be a banner year for us to win 50. We want to make the playoffs. That's our goal.
Does it feel odd to you? I know it's just only a week and a half. Does it feel odd to you to be back and doing this again?
No, it doesn't feel odd. I love to tell a story about Red Holzman, and it kind of goes along with this. What a great life we have, he used to say. We have the first-class hotels. We have first-class in flights. We have chartered flights. They even pay us to go on the road. But it's those damn games. They can get rid of those games. Those games are full of tension and a lot of animosity and a lot of, we're exercising our demons when we play. And as a young team, we're finding our way almost every night. We have to go through a process, and that's the thing that's, the high tension thing. And that's also fun. It's real intriguing for us.
Well, if you're going to have tension, you may as well have Kobe Bryant, Phil, playing the way that he's playing right now. We've heard a lot of reports, some from teammates, talking about how different he is, thinking that he's matured as a person. Do you see a different Kobe Bryant so far, and if so, how?
Well, I like to say that he's not different. He's not going to change in that regard. I think he's going to be the man he is. He's true to himself, but he has matured, and he's got kind of toned down maybe some of the rough edges in his life. And that means his patience, maybe his anger that he's had in the past, his frustration, a hair trigger sometimes that would go off. He's much more patient in that regard. And I think he's matured in that way a whole lot in 2 years.
Phil, I know it takes a while, sometimes into mid and late 20s, before players feel comfortable becoming leaders. I guess Kobe's, 27 now? Yeah. Is he a reluctant leader, or is he active in his leadership role now?
Well, that's an interesting question, because this is something we talked about almost immediately when I took the job as a Laker coach, and he was 21. I mean, I was talking to him about becoming a leader and how he needed to do that and the right way to do that, how to pay attention to his teammates' needs. And you can be a leader by action, but you can also be a leader who gathers support. And that gathering of support is one of the things I think I've seen a difference in Kobe. He's always been a leader because of his action. He is relentless as a player. And that is a certain sense of motivating, empowering a team. Now he has the patience to be also a person that gathers the players together around him.
One of the greatest leaders ever in the NBA and in all sports was Michael Jordan. You had the pleasure of coaching him. Can you compare Kobe to Michael just in those terms, in terms of leading a team?
Yes, I think I can. I think one of the things that's the most difficult for people of superior talent is to understand the ability or lack of ability that their comrades or teammates might have, and not fault them for that, and to be able to understand that there are limits that people can go to, and to praise those qualities that make them NBA players, and and ignore the ones that may be limitations that they might have, and not show the frustration. And that's where I think Michael had to come to in terms of becoming a leader, is not harboring on the faults that players had, but seeing the bright spots.
Well, everybody's talking. One of the biggest stories in the NBA is you coming back to the league this year. The other night, a resident of our town in the nation's capital, Red Auerbach, took a couple of shots at you. I know this is not the first time, and Phil, you laughing now, and I know you usually laugh when this happens, but why does Red do this? You guys both have all these titles. Why do you think he does it?
I couldn't go into his mind to ask why. I really don't know why he would do that, or why he finds it necessary. I don't think he's that solicitous of his 9 titles. I think that he sees that he could have easily stayed on and coached that Celtic team to a couple more titles, and he gave the reins over to Bill Russell. But I think that it's just that rivalry that goes back to the Knicks and the Celtics that just is in the blood. It's in the skin.
Yeah, we like Red, and we like you, and we sort of don't understand this. But Red said something that is intriguing. He said you've had Michael and you've had Shaq, and he says you don't really become a great coach till you win without dominating players. He had Bill Russell. He had an incredibly dominating player. So I mean, let's say that you and he are even in that. Do you see merit in that notion that you have to win without a dominating player?
No, that's we're all beholden to our players as coaches. And it's a relationship that goes on forever. And you can go back and look at Red's record before Bill Russell became part of his teams in Boston, and you see that he has a mediocre record. And that's just the way it is. But I don't think that he wasn't a good coach at that time, even though he had a mediocre record without Bill Russell. But it's that special player that gives you the opportunity as a coach to do things that make a winning atmosphere and winning teams.
Let me take advantage of the fact that you have the Philadelphia skyline behind you to bring in Terrell Owens and the whole notion of what is going on with him. People compare him somehow to Dennis Rodman. You coach Dennis Rodman. I don't think you think that's an apt comparison, do you?
No, I don't. There was an article in the USA Today this week that compared the the grit of the Eagles and finally doing the right thing and getting rid of him, and the Chicago Bulls did. Dennis Rodman was never a distraction to his team. When we knew that we had to have a power player to win as a championship team or come back two championships in Chicago, I talked to the players about bringing Dennis Rodman in as a teammate and said, this is a special person that has to have special needs and special treatment. He's going to be late all the time. He's going to get fined for being late all the time. That's a team rule. You know, we're going to make exceptions for some of the things he doesn't do, but we're going to ask him to join us in what he can do, and that's winning and playing. Dennis was never a distraction to the team in that regard. He never criticized his teammates, and he came to practices and produced. I have great respect for Terrell Owens' game. I don't know him individually, but I don't think, from what I've seen, that he has that same standard. He has criticized his teammates, and he's criticized the organization, and those are two things Dennis didn't do.
I will get you out of here with this question. Do you ever put all 10 rings on at once and just think how cool that is? Do you ever?
Actually, I have 11 rings, to be honest, 11 NBA championship rings, 9 as a coach and 2 as a player. And I've had them collectively together, but I've never put them all on. I mean, obviously thumbs don't fit, but I'd like to, you know, if that next one comes along, I'm going to get it fit for the thumb.
One for the thumb. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. We're taking a break. When we come back, the Patriots finished the first half at 4-4. But how many wins will they end up with? And with a record of 1-7, might the Packers actually bench Brett Favre in favor of a rookie?
I don't think so.
No.
Next time we have Phil, I got to ask him what you were like as a young beat writer covering the Knicks. That's what I want to know.
I had hair.
If you were
So
as
did he.
annoying then to...
Later on SportsCenter,
Somebody's trying to get back in here.
Al McNabb slammed the door on T.O. again.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the world.
Knock it off!
The greatest I'm sorries ever in sports. SportsCenter, 6 Eastern.
We went extra long with Phil Jackson today, so it's time for a mini version of Over Under. Let's get the first one from the commish, Stat Board.
And it's the no-push edition for you, Wilbon.
I don't know about that.
Over 9.5 wins for the Patriots this season.
I'm going over. I say the Patriots win at least 10. Here's what they got coming up. 2 left with Miami, 1 with Buffalo, 2 with the Jets, 1 with New Orleans, 1 with Tampa Bay. Those are all winnable games.
Yeah.
They're getting healthier. Richard Seymour is going to come back. Brady is energized. I say they win 10 at least.
Yeah, that's nice. But, you know, when you get these injuries, Tony, they seem to sort of derail your season. When you give up that many points at home, as the Patriots did to the Colts.
40 at home.
I'm going
one
to go
time.
under and say 9 victories, but they still can make the playoffs.
I think they may
with
even
those
get
9.
11. I think they lose only at Kansas City.
You're
I think they
optimistic.
go on a
You
tear.
love them. I know you love them.
I love the goal.
And they're the champs.
He's ready.
9.
Next.
Colts versus Texans on Sunday. Will Indy win by over or under 17.5 points?
This is nuts. I'm going over. And that is the largest spread that I've seen in like 5 years. I just think that because
You're loving the Colts now. You're
they
slurping
beat
the Colts.
Houston at Houston by 18. Now they got them at home, and even if they have a letdown, I think they can win by 21 points without working up a sweat.
I love the Colts. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Under. The Colts, come on, they had the most emotional victory of the week last week.
I understand.
It's a tough week. They got a hangover, and
They're playing Houston.
Houston has played really well 2 games in a row. I know you don't actually watch Houston. You would never watch a team that is not a star-filled team. I watch them. They're not as bad as their record. Under.
You're wrong. Next.
All right, that's the last one, Tony. You need it if you want to win. Over or under 1 start for Aaron Rodgers for the Packers this season.
I'm going under. I'm saying that Brett Favre would have to be dead or actually have retired in the middle of the year for anybody to start but him. He's got 235 straight starts, and he's a god for that statistic. I can't imagine Green Bay benching him.
That's right. And if the answer has to be under. But let me give you a scenario. So under officially. How about if Brett Favre, if he's going to retire, his last game at Lambeau,
Steps aside.
walks out to the field, and they let the young man, Aaron Rodgers, walk out from the bench and take the
That's
football
what I'm saying.
from Brett
He's
Favre.
got to
That's the
have
only
retired
way.
right
That's
there.
right.
That's it. Over, under, over. And I win. Don't
sure
go
you do.
anywhere because Wilbon is sure to start foaming at the mouth when we present the latest
Not
twist
him.
in the tale
Tired
of
of
young
him.
Theo
Get him out.
Epstein.
Tired of him. Fraud alert.
Later on SportsCenter,
Somebody's trying to get back in here.
Al McNabb slammed the door on T.O. again.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the world.
Knock it off.
The greatest I'm sorries ever in sports. SportsCenter, 6 Eastern.
Pardon the Interruption, presented by Guinness Draft Stout. Drink responsibly. Brilliant. And in part by Circuit City. For the hottest new technology, think Circuit City. Just what I needed.
Let's do the happies. Happy 230th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. Normally we don't do institutions, but the Marine Corps has been protecting us, all of us, for a long time. And we are happy to congratulate every Marine, past and present, for doing the kind of work that needs to be done when not everybody will do it. Wilbon, were you in the Corps?
Not tough enough, Tony. In fact, I think there should be a Marine Corps football team. Who's tougher than the Marines? They would never lose.
Happy anniversary, Ron Artest. On this day last year, you were suspended by the Pacers after asking the team for a month off because you were tired from recording and promoting an album. This was 9 days before the brawl, after which Artest got all the time off he needed. But it is still ridiculous that he would have asked for time off because he was promoting an album.
Have you ever promoted an album? Do you know how hard it is?
No, I haven't.
Demanding.
I have no idea.
Come on.
It's a joke.
It's tough
that
work.
hat, I remember we talked about that, what a joke it was. Happy trails, Theo Epstein.
Thank God.
Larry Lucchino released a statement today officially squashing all the rumors that Epstein might be returning as GM of the Sox. Wilbon, I hope to bring up Theo Epstein's situation every day for the next 3 months because I know how much you personally hate him and wish him ill.
I don't hate him. I hate the people who try to convince me that he is a national story every time he breathes. That would include you.
He is. Brian Cashman is as well. National stories all the time. Time to find out what we messed up, Stat Boy.
Tell us how you really feel, Wilbon. 4 straight NFC Championship games for McNabb, Tone. Not NFC Championships, of course. And then Wilbon was taking a census about halfway through the show. I was waiting for him to give the population of Phnom Penh. Sao Paulo, 10 million. The rest of the numbers were pretty close.
I believe I said 10 million.
NBA ought to show up there, right? Because it's a lot to draw from. All right, Wilbon, give the people something to watch tonight.
I'm going to watch Everybody Hates Chris and Alias. That's my Thursday night viewing.
I'm going to watch a little movie I like to call The Godfather.
You've seen it how many times?
About 45. And I can't believe you have never seen The Godfather.
I haven't.
You got to be the only man in America
DVD.
who hasn't seen it 30 times.
I'll get to it.
When? We're taking a break, but there's more PTI to come, including Mike Tyson in Brazil.
We'll be back in a few minutes. Until then, let's toss it up to the Sports Center while I go watch The Godfather.
Everyone in Canada's seen The Godfather, right?
No.